Welcome back, everyone, to yet another episode of Stack Your Points. It is our 1 year anniversary. That's RJ, one of our co-hosts. We're also joined by Lonnie from the Call Me Lonnie YouTube channel. Lonnie, how are you today?
I'm feeling good to know that has it really been a year? It doesn't feel
It
like it's been
has.
a year.
It has been a year,
So we're like 50 episodes deep. That is crazy.
at least 50, probably 51. I know we lost a week in there somewhere.
Yeah, we
Just,
skipped a week or two, like holidays, Christmas, whatever. But
yeah,
so that's crazy.
We have a
yep.
total of 150 episodes up of some of them are the mini topics and many different things, but we have 150 episodes and 500 subscribers. I like round numbers, so it made me happy.
Yes, we just hit 500 subscribers at the time of recording tonight, a little bit before time of recording tonight. Anyway, that's just semantics and pedantic. So we're also joined by Craig. You also know him as KidCat37 in the various discords. Craig, how are you tonight?
I am doing well, finally back from across the pond and alive. So, good times.
Glad you're here because what we heard sucked. So we're gonna do a little bit of a different format. Oh, and I'm Matt from the Mac Lawson YouTube channel. We'll move over to our next question, going back to M2K, who asks, if you can only have Chase and American Express cards, what would be a solid setup with the maximum return and lowest annual fee? Lonnie's shaking his head because
I'm just gonna bow out. I don't have the mental acuity to do the math on that one, especially across two ecosystems. I'm just gonna bow out. The ones that work for you. I'm gonna take the RJ easy answer. The one that works for you.
there we go.
The easy answer is you get the green, you get the flex and the Freedom United, and you transfer everything to Marriott for some reason. I don't know what that reason would be, but that is a mutual partner or JetBlue at the weird Amex JetBlue transfer. But
With a
you'd
tap.
also have to have the CSP to actually transfer out. So, yeah, look, Chase and Amex are becoming Apple and like Android. Like, you pick one. If you want to play with both, you can, but people will look at you a little funny. That is what it's becoming. It's not like a multi-system game anymore. Like, I think Lonnie's topic last week or the week after was in that vein of we're becoming you pick one. Like, you can have Wells Fargo as your second for either, you can have Citi as your second for either, you can have whoever as your second for either. But you pick Chase or you pick, except for like co-brands like IHG. I have a Chase IHG card. Like, that has no bearing. The chase of it all has no bearing, right? Like, any reputable bank who had that IHG card, it would be the exact same. So I think that it's becoming a you pick one instead of you make a setup with both. Because especially with Chase, you have to have an annual fee card to transfer out. But if you're not using that annual fee card for anything but transferring out, it feels redundant. Like, it's just weird, man. You don't want the green and the CSR. That's also a very weird combo. You could, but unless you're doing international flights and some weird hack arounds, I don't know why you would.
It's fair. Craig, any thoughts here?
I was going to say to RJ's point, if you're going to be doing international flights, go for it. But there are also just cheaper ways to do that. Like RJ said, pair it with Citi, pair it with Capital One or Wells Fargo. For me, I'm having an existential travel credit card problem because I have recently lost 22 trips a year for work, right? I am not flying nearly as much. So I don't need to have access to a Chase and an Amex lounge. I don't need to have super high status on all my hotels, but if I'm being realistic, for me, I'm getting as many hotel cards as I possibly can. So I'm grabbing IHG, I'm grabbing Hyatt, Aspire, Brilliant. Depending on if I'm actually staying at nights, I might get the Marriott business, but probably not. And then for me, just a green and a gold at that point. I have lounge access covered with And you know what? Green, gold, platinum. It just isn't it isn't really a viable strategy. But my thing is, I'm spending more time in hotels, especially now that I'm not flying for work. I'm not going to be in the air nearly as much. I don't really particularly care now. Before I was doing it so I could get a shower in the airport or get something to eat. Now it's I'm getting to the airport when I need to. I'm probably having food beforehand or I'm like eating somewhere in the airport because I don't mind paying 60, $70 for a meal if I'm only doing it once every other month. I think that's what people don't realize is that lounges are awesome. They're a great luxury, but at least for me and the way that I use them, it's a necessity, not a luxury because and I'll say I don't know about Lonnie, I won't speak for him, but sometimes I'm running out of a meeting and going to hop on a flight within 2 hours and I just want to grab a quick shower and a bite to eat. And I can't do that on the way to the airport. And I can tell you as a traveler, having a shower and a clean pair of underwear and an undershirt on is a game changer, no matter who you are, where you're going.
Socks.
Yes, 100%.
Socks.
Yeah, if you can only have Chase and Amex, what would be a solid setup with the maximum return? I feel like this question right now is a little too open-ended just because we still have unknown unknowns with both ecosystems. Like, we expect that the green is going to get refreshed. How high does that annual fee go? American Express has 9 floating trademarks, which again, trademarks do not mean products. I get that. But if they introduce 4 new credit cards and refresh the green and refresh the platinum, you have to completely reassess the entire American Express ecosystem, especially if those 4 new credit cards are all membership reward earning cards,
And
potentially at various points. Yep.
Didn't the CEO or one of the senior people at Amex say like they're refreshing more things? A
Yes.
lot of the refreshes are international, but there's still quite a lot on the table for Amex, and they pulled 3 credit cards that they still haven't acknowledged that they pulled,
Yep.
which may or may not come back in some flavor. So there's a lot Amex could do in the next 6 to 18 months.
Yeah, and they have at least a 4-month head start to make the green and the platinum even more tempting to folks who look at Chase and say, "What the hell did you do to me?
Yeah.
Why did you just knife me in the stomach?" Maybe not knife you in the stomach, but Chase is also a bit of a wild card. Like, we don't know what's happening with the Freedom Flex. Freedom Unlimited will probably be the next card after that to get a refresh. We don't know what's happening with the Sapphire Preferred. We don't know what's happening with on the business side. We don't know what's happening with the Ink Preferred. So this is a really weird question in June, July of 2025 when there are a significant number of unknown unknowns. Because right now you could say, if you have a Freedom Flex and you have a Freedom Unlimited, that's no annual fee. You pair it with the $95 preferred, and like as long as that setup is working for you, $95, you get the $50 hotel credit, effectively $45. Don't go out of your way to use that $50 hotel credit. It's stupid. Don't do it. But then on the American Express side, you can go with the green card, but you have no real support, publicly available support cards underneath it. Like, the Everyday Preferred was not a particularly compelling support card to the green card and was $95. The Everyday card was not a particularly compelling support card to the green card. And so you'd have to go above market, and now you're looking at 150 plus 325. And do you want to pay 475 for 2 cards, even with all of the points that you can generate on everyday items between dining, groceries, and the travel that the green card gives you? Still no gas category. So it's an interesting question that I don't know that we can come to a full consensus answer right now, but will be significantly clearer probably by the end of the year once we know what's happening with the green card, once we know if American Express is introducing any more cards, or replacing the everyday cards, rebranding stuff. Like they've got 9 trademarks floating out there. 9 trademarks has to mean at least one card. Like
Yeah.
I have to give you you have to give us at least an 11% conversion rate on that one.
I also think I understand the idea of like maximum rewards for lowest annual fee, but that's not who American Express is. Like
Or
American
Chase for that
Express,
matter.
but Chase has $0 annual fee cards that earn the UR points. Like
Yeah.
you can't transfer them without it, but they still earn effectively what is UR points. You can't do that with any publicly available Amex card. Like
Yeah.
American Express is not cheap and make lots of points. They are, you pay for it and then we'll make lots of points. Like I get a mini sub every time I whip out my platinum to pay for airline tickets because 10 to 15,000 points every time I book flights when I book flights for my family, which is great, but I'm paying for it. Now, thankfully, the platinum works for me in its current state. We'll see what happens on the refresh. But that is something that I have already budgeted into my budget for. If you told me you just got to pay $695 for the CSP or whatever, like that's not going to work. But American Express has said, you're going to pay, you're going to get a lot. You're going to get a lot for it. And the idea of maximum return on lowest annual fee is the antithesis of what Amex is. So I think we have to understand who the banks are from their core identity. Chase is in a little bit of an identity crisis, but Amex is not. Amex is as crystal clear on who they are as you could possibly ask for. You'll pay for it, but we'll give you X, Y, and Z.
Yep.
But you're going to
Can
pay
I
for
actually
it.
push back for a second?
Yeah.
I think, and not against anything bad that you said. I think Chase is actually very much so aligned with exactly who they want to be. I think if you just look at who is spending money right now, it is very heavily Gen Z and millennials in that 44 to 30 range. And I think that they want a bigger slice of that pie because for whatever reason, we live in a current culture of flashy showboat social media. People want to have the idea or the perception of luxury and wealth, even if we don't do it, right? And I think that the idea or the numbers speak for themselves. We have $1 trillion in credit card debt. Like the only other debt that's remotely close to that is consumer outside of student loans is car debt. People are car poor. People are looking to let you know, I have what I have. I have been trying to get a big, dumb, stupid Yukon Denali for 3 years now. My wife will not let me get it. My wife doesn't financially abuse me. She just says, hey, why don't we pay off a house first and not buy a big, dumb, stupid truck? It's neither here nor there. But I still drive the same Ford Fusion that I've been driving since I bought it in college. Could I afford a new car? Yeah. Does Chase know I can afford a new car? Probably. Capital One does because they send me a pre-qualified for this email every 3 minutes. And I think Chase is, to everyone's chagrin, is moving to get more in line with Amex. I think the CSR is a prime example of this. I wouldn't be surprised if that third Sapphire card is some odd combination of the Freedom Flex and Unlimited. Granted, that's speculation. Take that with a grain of salt. But I think that the days of us earning relatively free UR points is kind of come and gone. Because again, I think the CSP will be the last card to get the update, but I wouldn't be surprised if we're looking at a pre-update Amex Gold 250 or 150. But if we're basing it off of the trends of the United cards are a little bit less expensive than the Sapphire or the UR earning cards, we're looking at probably a 250 CSP. And I think that lends itself to Chase and Amex being the two options that are slightly different, but not really different. It's like a Pixel and an iPhone.
So I don't disagree with what you're saying, but the problem is Chase is in the middle of it. And I
Fair.
think that's what confuses it, right? Like American Express they're not change. Even when they update the cards, they're not changing their identity. Chase is trying to change their identity, which muddies the waters. That's more what I was getting at. I
Fair enough.
agree with all of your points. I just think they're in the transitional phase, so it is more muddy because we don't actually like they could course correct. They could course correct. I don't think they will, but as the things roll out before the 4 months is up and the current holders have their changes, things could change. So I think because that is all so muddy, we can't say they have a clear identity at this moment. I think they're trying to. I just don't think they've done it yet.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Yeah, I'm in a position right now where I don't think it's wise to try and pick one or the other until we know we come out on the other side of the next 6 months with whatever the hell they're doing. Because it's a lot. We got a couple of double questions to run through. First one from Double says, finding the right hotel chains programs that fit you is highly individualized and multifactorial. What did it take for you to find your go-tos? How would you recommend others find theirs? RJ, I'll throw to you on this one first.
So I looked at the programs pretty heavily, right? Like you have two extremes. You have Hilton on one side, which are the rooms can be more points heavy, but the points are super easy to get. They're cheap to buy. They're cheap to have credit cards that'll get you a lot of points real quick. Like Hilton is one extreme and Hyatt is the other. The rooms are not very much points, but the points are harder to make. If you're going through just the traditional Chase cards, like there are missing categories, right? Like grocery, gas, things like that. So for me, I looked at all of the programs, right? And then I use them. And that's why I don't use Marriott anymore. That's why I book all of my Marriott stays through Delta. Because their program didn't work for me in practice the way that I thought it would on paper. IHG worked a whole lot better for me in practice than I thought it would on paper. So some of it is you research, you look at things, and then you got to try it out. And you realize, oh, this program I thought would work because I had two ecosystems that could pull points really doesn't. I much rather move my points from Amex here. This way, I much rather not have Chase points if I can help it. Right? Like for me, it was do a lot of research and then try it. You got to stay at hotels. You have to travel. Like as much as we wish we could sit in a room with a spreadsheet, and I have several, and figure everything out, sometimes you just got to travel. You got to get on a plane. You got to check into a hotel. You have to figure out if the pain points on paper matter. Because there are some that you think don't matter, and then, oh my God, you're faced with that pain point and you want to throw an orange at somebody's head. You don't throw an orange at somebody's head, but you think about it. And I think that's the thing is like so many people in the travel community don't actually travel all that much or haven't figured this stuff out by actually traveling. All of their stuff is theoretical. And the problem with theory is doesn't matter how good it is until you put it in practice. And I think for me, I had to deal with Marriott's program to realize how much I didn't like it. Now, for other people, especially people with work travel, like Marriott's great. For me, who travels for fun and pleasure, like much, much rather use Marriott through Delta, get the MQDs, not have to deal with Marriott points. Everybody wins. Like for me, it's great. So I think that in terms of that, like I did all the research I could, and then I just had to spend several months going to hotels. Like I did 3 weekends in a row. I stayed at a Hilton, an IHG, and a Choice Hotel. Now, this was not specifically for figuring out which partners, but it was for something else. But I actually physically went to the hotels and dealt with the service and how their hotels were laid out and all of that. So it becomes this thing of you got to travel, got to get on planes, got to deal with customer service, got to say, okay, I booked this room, but I'd really like this room. do I ever get upgrades? Because if you're Marriott Gold, you're probably never going to get an upgrade, but unless you're going to a hotel off the highway, someplace that has 4 people staying that night, and then you might get an upgrade, maybe, if they're feeling generous.
Even then.
So the thing is, there is so much theory that we talk about, but the practical matters. For me, the practicality of first class won as soon as I did it. Like, the money around it didn't matter at that point, because for where I'm flying and where I'm flying out of, it's not that much different. So for me, it's worth it. But those are things that I didn't know until I did it. I didn't know how much Hilton and IHG were going to work out until I actually stayed at Hilton and IHG's, and they work. So you got to do it. Got to pack a bag, got to leave your house, got to leave this spreadsheet. Even take the spreadsheet with you. Take your laptop with you with the spreadsheet on it if you must. But you got to travel. And it's got to be okay if you make a mistake. You have to allow yourself the ability to change your partners or make a mistake, because so many people act as if they picked wrong. They have to write it out because it's some sort of badge of honor if they do a thing they hate but continue to do it.
That's cool. No, never mind. Craig, your thoughts here?
I want to give RJ a shout out first, because I think oftentimes when we're talking about travel, and this is where I was running into conflicting, I guess, information when I first got into the game. If you're only less than 10 days a year, I'm going to be really honest with you. Hotel loyalty probably doesn't really particularly matter. I'm going to take Lonnie's advice here. Start an account, accrue your points. But if you are staying less than 10 nights or 5 stays somewhere, which I think is fairly average for what people are doing, is it helpful to maybe get a card if you want to build up and have an aspirational stay? Sure. But I also will say, a lot of these aspirational properties, when we have this conversation of which program is best, doesn't matter which program you pick, you are going to use a butt ton of points. I was just looking at a stay in Napa Valley for a Hyatt. It's 45,000 points a night. That is a lot of Hyatt points, right? For me, it depends. For work travel, I will say Marriott has been very kind to me, particularly just because I am close to the work site. For those of you that are traveling and doing like a volume of travel, you will know being close to the hotel, close to the work site, or close to the airport is more important than do I get free breakfast? Because for me, in my case, I'm probably out of the hotel before breakfast is being served, or I'm not a breakfast person in general. I'm going to grab a protein shake and go on about my day. So is breakfast important to you? No. Marriott's probably not the biggest deal. Hyatt globalist status really isn't that big a deal. For me, as RJ said, getting out there and actually using the programs, I realized very quickly I have the nights, or had the nights, to get Hyatt globalist status and a little bit extra. The locations didn't work for quite literally any state that I work in. We are in 8 states across the country. Not a single one of those work sites we're in within 30 minutes of getting to that Hyatt within public transportation or Uber and Lyft, and that's just not an acceptable deal for me. I will say, although I, over the last 2 years, have done the most Marriott stays, Hilton is still my preferred program. I just came back from London, did some stays at Hilton, did some stays at Marriott's. It's the little things for me that I enjoy, making my visit better. So internationally, I'm getting free breakfast. Domestically, I can use that food or beverage credit whenever I want to in the day. I enjoy having that flexibility. I will also say you can earn an absolute butt ton of Hilton points, no matter what card you have. Even if you don't have a Hilton card, say that you're using the American Express Green Card, you're getting 6 points per dollar for every dollar you spend at a Hilton, plus the 10 points, plus whatever other status you have. So let's just say you don't have any status at Hilton at all. You're still getting 16 points a dollar just staying at Hilton. For me, I'm getting 34 points per dollar because I have a Hilton Aspire. I had 0 Hilton points at the start of June because I'd used all of them. I am at 72,000 Hilton points. I just checked, right? Like, it is, you can build an astronomical amount of Hilton points very quickly. And it's the age old, they don't mean anything. Death by 1,000 cuts versus I hit you with a really big rock with Hyatt. I will also say, do you care about earning transferable currency? And the reason I ask that for particularly somebody like RJ, I don't care about earning Virgin Atlantic points. I don't care about earning Avios. I want Delta points and I want Hilton points, right? Because I'm a domestic traveler and I want to go where I want to be. And I know there's always going to be a Hilton there. And this is probably just a me thing. I feel a lot more comfortable transferring my points to Hilton than I do Marriott because it's a 1-for-1 transfer rate. And even on average, Hilton and Marriott points are not that big of a difference, right? You can buy a Hilton point for half a cent. On average, I'm redeeming my Hilton points somewhere between 0.9 and 1.2. Maybe the same for a Marriott, but it hurts a lot more to transfer one UR to one Marriott as opposed to one MR for two Hilton or two right now, 2.5, right? I'm going to also say this. How much money are you actually spending? Because I think that is a big indicator of what program you should be using or if you should be caring about this at all. Because if you are willing to put your grocery, your gas, and your other on a Hilton Surpass and spend $15,000 and you see all the extra superpowers that you get, that's awesome. But I think if you aren't the type of person that's spending $15,000 a year, because that's also the entry point for Marriott and for Hilton Hyatt as well, again, take a step back and say, is it worthwhile for me to really dive deep into these programs as opposed to what do I need? For me, I was staying 90 plus nights a year in hotels. That's no longer the case. I'm no longer really looking at having, I might hit Marriott ambassador status this year, but next year I wouldn't be surprised if I only hit platinum. And that's from having the Bonvoy Brilliant. I think it's for the places I want to stay, it's still somewhat important to have some status because I want to have the ability to check out late. But eh, I think it's, I think we, I realize it is an aspirational game and it is a game for us to save money. But sometimes I don't think that we're being realistic in some of the advice that we give to our folks or being realistic with ourselves with saying, like, how much am I actually spending here and how much is it wise for me to spend as opposed to just saving and using that cash instead of worrying about the points. So,
Yeah.
sorry, that was a very long winded answer, and I apologize.
No, it's fine. We're known for that around here. Lonnie, finding the right hotel chains, programs that fit you. What are your go-tos? How would you recommend others find theirs?
I don't even know if I could add anything after RJ and Craig's answers there. I think they pretty much hit every single available corner.
Yep.
And I will reiterate just a couple of points that they both made. First off is you got to try out. You got to try it out. Like RJ was saying, you just got to get out there and stay at a couple of different places. You got to stay at some Hiltons. You got to stay at some Marriotts and some Hyatts and some IHGs before you realize what it is that you actually want or what you actually like. To Craig's point, I was very beneficial to have not just work travel, but a corporate work partner that was partner of IHG. And so whenever we were out of the country, we stayed at Intercontinentals. And so I spent years and nights at Intercontinentals every time we had to do these types of work trips. That's how I start falling in love with Intercontinentals. And as we all know, I went and got my IHG card last year because I wanted a better Intercontinental experience, personal and business, but even a business, like work has a budget. They're like, yo, you can have the studio room, whatever, and it's the corporate discounted room, but your status be like, it triggers something in the system. Like, wait a sec, this doesn't make sense. Like, why are you there, but you're also a platinum member? No, man, get over there. Get in that line over there to the left. We're going to put you up on the high floor. And it only cost me $99 a year. So I'm like, this card is now worth it. So those types of things. Now, outside of work, I do stay at Intercontinental hotels often, but not as often as you think. Yeah, so personal travel only like a few times. More often than not, I'm staying somewhere else. And it's usually like a Hilton or a Marriott, to be completely honest. I rarely ever touch Hyatt. But the point that I'm trying to make is even with IHG also owns Holiday Inn. And so just because, oh, I like Intercontinental does not mean you might be in an area where you'll never have an Intercontinental. And you like the Holiday Inn Express properties, maybe. Hilton is not just Hilton. Hilton has so many other sub brands like Embassy Suites, Doubletrees. You might be more of a fan of that style, especially now I'm speaking as a parent because like Embassy Suites people, suites keyword here, you're getting a regular room with extra room in it because you need a pull-out couch now. You need extra space for a pull-out bed that you don't trip over in the middle of the night, those types of things. And so you have to get out there. You have to try to figure out what actually works for you. And then you can start building a card around that particular strategies. You know what? Screw the Conrad, screw the Waldorfs. Yes, they're great, but what I need is something that's guaranteed, and Embassy Suites would guarantee to get me exactly what I'm looking for wherever it is that I'm going. So I'm just going to go that route. That might be something that you need to figure out for yourself. So there is no like one size fits all answer, but I will say, as my other two co-hosts have said, you got to get out there and try it. And then last but not least, if you're still in that early phase, the best way to get out and try it, excuse me, is to use your transferable points. More importantly, use your travel portals. I know that's a hot topic right now with Chase the Edit Credit and FHR and hotel collections, but if you could just stack up a bunch of Chase points or Amex points, I used to do this. I still do with my United miles before I got my hotel cards. Don't forget, I got my first hotel card in 2024, literally almost exactly a year ago that we're recording this. It was 4th of July weekend, so literally like exactly a year ago, 51 weeks ago, I got my first hotel card ever. I used to book any hotel with the best deal straight with my United miles. And that's how I started realizing, going back to my second point, I like Embassy Suites because, as RJ knows, I like a room with a room in it. I like Staybridge Suites, also under IHG. Why? Because I like a room with a room in it. Is it super luxurious? No, but I'm from the flipping Midwest. That is super luxurious in the Midwest. Craig, tell me I'm wrong. The new Staybridge Suite off of I-55 is
That's
pretty
that's a vacation right there. You go in there, you play in the pool, get you some pizza. It's a good time.
That's how I grew up. So it wasn't until later in life where I started getting upgraded, started staying at more expensive places, those types of things where I really got into, I really like this hotel or not. And now I fell in love with Conrad's, which ain't cheap, but I look for those now, just upgrade lifestyle, whatever you want. But it took time. It took a lot of time. It took a lot of hotel rooms. It took a lot of different beds and pillows to figure out this is what I like. And like I said, I'll pick a Conrad over a Waldorf Astoria. Luxury, modern, design. It's not even always about customer service and the food. Sometimes, yeah, the JW Marriott that has the maple bacon Brussels sprouts. If I never stayed there, I would not know that I like them. And that's one of those things that takes me back to that particular hotel every single time. Because I know I can order those at room service the second I get there at 9:30 at night. I know they're going to be slamming. I know they're going to slap. Those types of things. So the best, not to reiterate too much, but the best thing is to get out there and practice. Find something that works for you. And then once you realize what works for you, it might not always be the luxurious thing. Just because it's get the Amex Platinum, get fine hotels and resorts, stay at Ritz-Carlton, get a presidential suite. There's a lot of ifs there, but you can do that. If that's your taste and that's your plethora, then sure. But you'll probably find somewhere along the way that Staybridge Suites is more up your alley. And then you can start building up off of that. And if you wanted something luxury, every so often, you want to stay at the Intercontinental in Miami, which is a great hotel that I stayed at last year before a cruise out of Port of Miami. then you have that option as well. And so you're like, now you found your ecosystem. Now you found your niche.
Nope, my co-hosts all bring up very valid points across the board. The only other thing I would add, and not too sure if this was touched on, your needs and your preferences are going to also change over time. So you can start out loving you some Marriott, loving you some Hyatt is like a single person and young couple, like early relationship couple, great hotel experience. Once you're in that family and need a room with a door, Hyatt's not necessarily for you. Then you're looking at like the Residence Inns, the Town Place Suites, the Homewood Suites, Staybridge. Like when you're getting at that point, like family life, now you're looking at IHG, you're looking at Hilton, you're looking at Marriott. Marriott program may not be great for you. Okay, just booking cash at Marriott and worry about the others if you want to develop your relationship there. Your relationship with the hotels will also change over time, and just constantly be willing to reassess it. Like Hyatt can work in a certain stage of your life that maybe it's not going to work later on, and you just have to accept it, right? Or you can go back to Hyatt as we need to get away for a weekend, you and your partner. And that is not a hotel chain that you're going to deal with kids. You can go to the JW Marriott with a family. You may not be able to go to the Park Hyatt with a family. So just be willing to reassess as life changes for you.
You also don't have, like, you are not necessarily required to be monogamous. Like, I have Hilton
Yeah.
and IHG, but I stayed at a Marriott over the weekend because I booked it through the Delta portal. Like, I don't have a problem with Marriott. I just don't want to deal with their program, so I use the Delta portal. Or
Yeah.
if Delta didn't have their MQD thing, I'd use the Amex portal. There are ways to where you can stay where you want to stay that you don't necessarily have to go about it in a way that like you don't want. I don't want to deal with Bonvoy, so I get around Bonvoy and deal with it otherwise. You don't have to always be committed. Like Matt is more of a free agent than I think the others are, and that's okay too. Like you could be a true free agent, get an autograph and get the same, just have your loyalty points set up. So when you do your direct bookings, you're getting those loyalty points of whatever status you want, or just get all the cheapest cards for all of the hotels and then accrue points that way. There's a lot of ways to do it. It's what free. You can get a free Hilton card, a free Marriott card,
Free
a
IHG, free choice.
IHG, free
The only
choice.
one
Can
that
you get a free Hyatt?
no.
No. You guys know how much I love Hyatt. Okay, so for what, $100, you have 5 different hotel cards. Like you can do that and just use the card at the right place to, if you're not staying a lot and maybe you're just trying everything out, try out for a year. At the end of the year, see what points you have. Be like, okay, if I consolidated everything to Hilton or Hyatt or whatever, I'd be all set. And then going in next year, keep the cards that are free, or even the $95 or $99 Hilton or Hyatt one, and then you're all set. So you can be a free agent, try everything out, and then do that. Or just keep being a free agent. If you live in a place and travel where there's a bunch of options, like you don't have to settle down. It's not like a relationship. Like you can move. It's okay. I give you permission. It's not my lifestyle, but I give you permission to live your truth.
I want to have Kimbra's Settle Down stuck in my head now for the rest of the night. Or just book through Rove.
I was waiting to see how long it would take you in this episode to bring up Rove. You made it much longer than I thought you would.
I enjoy them very much. I also like that, like, everything I would have bought at that Homewood Suites would have gotten me all of my Hilton points if I had decided to buy anything. All right, so thanks to Double on that one. We're going to stick with Double, who asks, what is your favorite and least favorite bank mobile app for credit cards and why? And a max of one person can talk about the Apple Card. app. RJ, we're just going to get out of the way. You've landed the Knicks cold envelope.
I love the Apple Card app. It's really good. I wish I could add my other cards there and have everything show up the same way. It would be great. No, it truly is a great app, but it is limited in the fact that the Apple Card doesn't connect to anything else, right? Amex app, I have a bunch of things I can do. The Apple Card app, there's not, just because of what the Apple Card is. So, do I love it? Yes. Is it my favorite? No. Probably the Amex app is my favorite. I use Send and Split a lot. That is a feature in the Amex app, and it's a feature, so I'm going with it being part of Amex that is really helpful to me, right? Like, I rarely actually have to go into the PayPal and Venmo app. So that is super handy for me. The only thing is, for the love of God, Amex, please turn off the setting that every 5 seconds when I'm on the Amex travel portal, I have to re-log in, because that is the most annoying thing. And there are, like, every app has their pain points, but the Amex app truly, I am in it a lot, and it is a very good app. Least favorite, I did not like the Bank of America app. Or, I'm sorry, not Bank of America, US Bank. I did not like the US Bank app.
Both of those were designed in the 1740s.
Yes, they were. But the US Bank app was not great. It was fine, but of all of the bank apps, my local credit union is truly the worst, but they're a local credit union, so I can't give them much shit.
Yeah. Actually, no, not the 1740s. It's being too generous to the 1740s. And Ada Lovelace could design something better. All right. Anyway, Lonnie, your favorite banking app and least favorite app?
Don't really know if I have a least favorite app when it comes to banking, but SoFi has a really great banking app, and it's literally a banking app. So I'm going to say SoFi is probably my favorite. Hold on, let me pull up my phone.
The only thing with SoFi's app, as somebody who now banks with SoFi, is I wish I could turn off the services that I don't use, so I don't have all of their services flashed in my face every time I log into the app.
You're not trying to open up another Roth IRA?
I don't need a loan. I don't need another IRA. I'm not investing with them. Like, I do wish I could at least adjust the tabs a little bit.
Yeah. I would actually go as far with the same as with that with Amex. With every time I log in, it's like, hey, you're qualified for a personal loan. I still don't want one. I didn't want one yesterday. I will not take a loan in a house. I will not take it with the mouse. I do not like loans, Sam. I am, like, straight up. So, but they're going to just keep on asking. If I had to say my least favorite, I would say Coinbase. I don't know what happened with them, but I actually ended up just closing my account because I had so much scamming stuff coming on. You get phone calls of someone tried to access your account. And so I'm like, all right, let me call the actual Coinbase number, and didn't know if it was legit or not. And then you get a text message and it's Coinbase, but it's 2 words instead of 1. I'm like, oh yeah, this is definitely a scam. So I just took all my money out, closed that thing out, locked it up, and I'm still getting them. So I'm like, yeah, they got problems over there. So that's now my least favorite banking app. Cause I'm like, y'all need to get your house together, because I'm sure people are out there getting scammed left to right, and I'm not for that. So know how Coinbase spells Coinbase, and also what letters are capitalized. If you get an email or phone call or text message, just please be careful out there, folks. But it's pretty bad with them at the moment. So like I said, I pulled all my money out. Now you can't get any of it because there's nothing in there.
They should probably get that figured out before their Amex card launches.
Yeah, they probably should, but I won't be a part of that, so I don't really care.
Issued through Cardless, so we might talk about Cardless a little bit. Craig, your favorite banking app for credit cards, least favorite.
Yeah. I'm actually going to throw a wild card out there. I really love Capital One's app. It is
That's
very
fair.
well integrated. I love that you can have virtual cards. Amex has virtual. I will say, out of all the apps, I'm in Amex the most, but that is just by nature of me putting the most spin through my Amex cards. But Capital One, I love that you can sync that up with your mobile wallets, with your PayPal, Amazon, all of that really seamlessly. You can use virtual cards in those apps as well. So even if I lose a physical card, I don't have to worry about it. I will also say I've really enjoyed the progress that Capital One has made in their app over the last 2 years. When you look at the offers for the Capital One offers, that site when it first launched, very clunky, but has integrated really well with the venture miles and just the offers that they have. And granted, that's not particularly part of the UI, but I think it's fair to say it's something that the other apps aren't doing right now. And I will say I do keep a checking and savings account with Capital One with a few $100 in each just to keep those accounts open. Really well integrated, really easy to move your money back and forth there. No major gripes. And this is going to sound so like the bar is in hell, but not having any problems is a very big plus. As far as apps that I do not enjoy at all, unfortunately, the Charles Schwab app. It is just so bare bones, so unattractive. And unfortunately, it is where most of my non work retirement stuff is. So please, for anyone that's listening, don't try to steal my ID or my identity. But yeah, just in their changes for trading have not been great. I used to have this Charles Schwab Platinum. You could technically manage that card from there and in the Amex app. Also clunky, not great. Just it is a perfectly fine app if you don't care about any glitz glam or like features, but outside of just doing some small trades or setting up recurring purchases, it is not great. I've thought about moving over to Fidelity. I've thought about moving over to Vanguard, but Vanguard is even worse somehow. But I don't have enough usage in Vanguard to say that with like certainty. So for me, Charles Schwab, although it is just where the majority of what I have is parked.
That's fair. For me, with Capital One off the table, with Amex off the table, and taking Apple off the table, I'm left between the Chase app and on the Chase app, the X1 app, and the Wells Fargo app. Wells Fargo app leaves a bit to be desired. So honestly, the Chase,
The word you're looking for, Matt, is bad.
eh,
It's bad.
it's not great. No, I just don't want to say it's bad because that's where all my cards are. I'm fine. But the Chase app is actually really nice. I don't like having to dig as deep into the Chase app as I have to pull up shop through Chase or the edit or Chase Travel. That's annoying. It's a little bit easier to get to Chase Travel. I think Chase Travel, the edit, all of that should be put into a separate app, but that is just me. Chase app, really good to use. My least favorite is a jump ball between the Elan Financial Services app because, oh my God, that's terrible. And the Barclays app because, wow, that's also really bad. The Barclays app, like I've been trying to go in to see if I could adjust my business income so maybe I could get more than a $2,100 credit limit on my JetBlue Plus on my JetBlue business card. No way to do that in the app. Like I have to figure out the website, and I'm sure that was designed by Tennyson. So that's annoying. And the Elan Financial Services app was just forgotten somewhere along the way. So those are both really bad apps for credit cards. We'll move over to our next question. Hopefully, this will be a pretty quick one. AP asks, "What airport lounge is the worst you've been in? Why is it so Why was it so terrible?" I'm gonna bow out on this one. Lonnie, your worst lounge experience?
Las Vegas Priority Pass. D. It's like in the D gates. By far the absolute worst. Craig's nodded his head. He's seen it. Folding chairs, Rubbermaid tables. I've never seen an employee in there before. It's literally it's like Halloween. It's like a bowl of like pretzels and chips. And literally, kid you not, a cooler with drinks in it. An
Nice.
actual cooler with drinks in it.
Nice.
Wow.
I came back from a bachelorette party for my best friend, real sunburnt and real hungover. It's the first sunburn I'd ever had. I was 27 years old, and I'm thinking, I'll get some ice and throw on this. Where's the ice machine? Where are the drinks? And the drinks weren't even cold, Matt. It was like lukewarm Coca-Cola cans.
Craig, I'm going to say something right now. When it comes to, with you, your partner, and being in the desert Southwest, maybe stop.
I shan't.
That's fair.
I shall not.
But all I hear is horror stories.
The worst part is I really love it. It's beautiful. I love it so much. I got family out in Henderson. It's so great. But also Vegas,
Why?
they know what they're doing. We don't have to give you anything. You're going to still come. You'll gamble. You'll watch a show.
Painful. To that end, Craig, any other worst lounge, or Vegas Priority Pass takes the cake?
Oh, I'm going to piss Lonnie off. The Newark Polaris Lounge.
Hmm?
The new one, or the one over there in the Sea Gates?
The one over there in the Sea Gates.
You're not gonna piss me off.
Okay, never mind.
He was going to start a fight if it's the new one with the brand new dining thing that you can look out over the plains. That might have started a fight. No, Seagates, he don't care. He can just set that one on fire.
It's the first fancy flight I had ever taken. Ever. I was like, it was for a cousin's wedding because I have some weird family dynamics, and I have somehow a Nigerian prince cousin that truly does live in Lagos. But we were flying Newark to Lagos, and I'm thinking, oh my God, my cousin and his family paid for us to get this fancy flight out here. Woo, I'm about to get wild. I walk in there and I'm like, oh, this is ghetto. This is how y'all live? All right. Food wasn't hot. The wasn't pretty. The chairs were all beat up and ratty. And I was just like, oh, this is like what y'all pay thousands and thousands of dollars for a one-way for?
That one doesn't have the cookies.
And it doesn't have the cookies.
It does not have.
And my seat was broken. I was on what was it, like a 7-something Dreamliner, and there was a spring in my seat. And rather than fix it, the flight attendant goes, "Oh, I'm just going to give you an extra pillow for that one spot." And I was like, "Okay, you don't want to move me? Sorry, it's a full flight." So that probably has something to do with it as well. But yeah, no, that Newark Terminal C lounge for Polaris can burn in hell.
Your first mistake was going through Newark.
I wasn't paying for the flight. I had no choice.
Did you at least get their cold storage wallet?
No. Matt, like when I tell you, like everybody likes to bag on American. I didn't get an amenity kit. My goddamn seat was broken, and they told me put a pillow on a spring, and the spring still sprung through the pillow. The food was bad in the lounge. The chairs were ratty. And if you've ever been to Lagos, Nigeria, in their summer, it's rash. Imagine somehow the driest, humid heat you've ever had. It's like getting slapped in the face with a wet towel, but also getting panhandled while you do it.
It's Phoenix.
Phoenix, but humid, but not.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
RJ, any other lounges to throw into the rink for consideration?
No, I go to good lounges. Like I have LaGuardia and the good lounges of Atlanta because I do my research before I go to any Atlanta Delta lounge. because that is important. Because there are a lot of them, obviously, with it being Delta's biggest hub. So there is literally one every about 15 feet, it feels like. So do your research before you walk into a lounge in Atlanta. But the one in LaGuardia is the one I go to the most because that's where I try to always get my connection. And the Delta Lounge at LaGuardia is fantastic. So for me, I thankfully, knock on wood, have not had a horror story. But I also, guys, you know me, you know how much research I do when I travel. I have 4 points of reference for every lounge I walk into, especially if I'm traveling with family.
LaGuardia, again, at one time described as worse than a third world nation.
That's not good.
Then they did the upgrades. Yeah, so there we go. We'll jump over to our next question. This comes from Jason, aka a ladder emoji. For more, stackingpoints.com. And check out the Discord. We have cards that are perks cards only, like the Bonvoy Brilliant and the Aspire, and don't really make it into our everyday wallet. What cutoff do you all have for what a card can provide to be worth acquiring, but not to spend on? And as a follow-up, can Matt please say thick boy? You're welcome. For me, I have the least number of annual fee cards of anyone here. My JetBlue business card gives me $50 worth of points every single year on a $99 annual fee. And I just need to take one JetBlue flight where I check a bag and it has paid for itself. Between my partner and I, that is what, $70 plus they give me $50. I have effectively made $120. Now, we don't love effective annual fee. We don't love net annual fee. That card doesn't have to do anything for me other than give me 5,000 points every year and make it so that I never have to pay a bag fee. And I'm happy. And my Sapphire Reserve I use for other things, and we'll see what happens with it after October of 2025. So for me, it's pretty simple. Lonnie, you've got some perk cards, but where's your line? Where's your cutoff for what a card can provide to make it worth acquiring and keeping?
My student card. But anyway, my actual. So you put Brilliant and Aspire, 2 cards that I currently have. Most recently, the Brilliant. Thanks to Craig for the referral link. I've got to share the wealth there. But they are actually in my wallet. Aspire is a great card for me. One, because it's 3x everything for all other purchases, but then it's heavy on dining. It works as an airline card and a great rental car card as well. So it's actually in my everyday wallet. And I'm probably about to hit my 30K on there and get my next free night certificate. Brilliant, which I am currently writing a video for, is a new fan favorite of mine because it's just so damn simple. Like, I really just want to get back to that type of credit card where it's just simple to use. So I might be a one-off, but I'm not going to necessarily call it a perk card. But to actually answer the question, what cutoff do I have for card to actually make it worth my while and add to my wallet? It has to be able to provide some type of benefit at a specific point in time or for a specific reason. So I have mentioned like my Blue United card. I don't carry it around. I don't use it for anything. Why not? Because I only need it when I fly on United to get my 25% discount or whatever credit perks I need by holding the card. Outside of that, don't need it. Same thing with my Amex Platinum card. I can use it to book everything I want, and then I won't need it for anything else. Unless I'm booking FHR and need to check in. That's it. There's no other reason to carry it around unless you're going to an Amex Centurion lounge. You're not going to use it for anything else. Now, when it comes to a card worth acquiring, like I said, you got to have a reason. What is it that you're trying to achieve? There's a purpose for all of it. And so make sure that you have a purpose and that card actually fills that purpose. And that purpose should not just be there's a great welcome offer. I'm just going to go get this great welcome offer, because then you don't have an exit strategy. You just went and got it because you got the points because you could, or you got the card because you could. But then you're like, that's where a lot of people are like, oh, this card sucks. It didn't suck. It was never for you in the first place. So I would actually say, as long as it has a purpose, then you should be able to find a way to make it work for you for a specific reason. Now, in the wallet or not, like I said, like we said at the beginning of this, Freedom Flex. I don't really carry that card around with me unless we're in a quarter of where there's a category in which I can make a benefit. It's not in my wallet today. Tomorrow it will be, as I start heading back to the gas stations using that particular card. And then when it doesn't fulfill that purpose, it's back out of the wallet. So that's the way that I would personally approach and look at that particular question.
Craig?
Going off of Lonnie's point, I get cards for very niche purposes. If I am doing something, it is because it is filling a gap somewhere, right? I know we talk about the platinum only being for flights, but fun fact for those who don't know, I love cologne. And not just like smelling good, but the actual like background of like how is it composed. My background is like my undergrad is chemical engineering. I like to know how olfactory notes work with chemicals. I like to know who the like creator and scent profile maker is. Random status that like you would never think about having. I have Dior status because I like buying Dior cologne. Like it is, and reliably, because Amex knows that I'm a consumer, they put get 5,000 points for spending $150 at Dior for 2 or 3 times a year. That is a mini sub for $150. Now I didn't get the platinum for that, but like I know that me and my wife like to go and do things. To Lonnie's point, sometimes cards just aren't for you. And that's okay. Cards aren't for me. I have been trying my absolute darndest to convince myself that I need every single one of the Delta cards. And it might change now because like I'm not doing so much American travel. I'm still trying to figure out if I'm going full on Delta or full on United or some weird combination of the two. But the cards aren't for me, despite them being fantastic cards. Like no one can sit here and tell me that companion pass on the reserve isn't a great use or a great perk, especially if you're flying with another person. If you're a family of 3, pay for 2 seats. And especially when you have kids, like, hey, after the age of 2, you have to pay for that tiny human. Even though they are going to be in your lap for 90% of that flight, you're paying for that seat. It hits a lot less hard when you can say, you are just my companion. Come on, that ticket was free. Free. For me, does it fill the niche purpose that I have it for? For the platinum, it was I want FHR and I want 5x spending. I know that we are up in arms right now about, I'm not, but like people are up in arms about the Sapphire edit collection needing 2 nights to get that 250 points. Let me assure you, if you can't or aren't spending 2 nights in a hotel of the quality that's going to be in the edit, maybe that's just not for you. And it could just be that specific perk isn't for you, and that's okay. I think it goes back to that point of no, I deserve luxury. Nobody deserves luxury. You want luxury. It is not a necessity. Prime example. I love going to the Pendry. The Pendry is my favorite boutique-ish kind of hotel chain to go to. I know I'm going to spend 3 or 4 or 5 nights at a Pendry every year. I can figure that out, right? But if you tell me I love to go to the roadside inn because it's perfect on my way to Holiday World. For those of you that don't know Holiday World, they have a gravy themed roller coaster. Check that out. Or I'm going to Kings Island in Ohio. You're not really getting luxury hotels in Kings Island, or if you're going to Six Flags, So again, is this for you? So for me, is it filling a niche, and am I getting at least break even value? And when I say break even, I don't mean just, oh, on paper I'm breaking even. I've got 2 gold cards right now. I use all the credits on one. I use Dunkin' and Resi and Uber on the other. Not touch that Grubhub credit, not all year, and I'm okay with that, right? Like, I think we are not using cards as intended, but also then complaining when we don't get maximum value from them. So, like, to the point of the Bonvoy Brilliant, you can feel how you want to feel about the program. But if the Amex Gold card right now said, hey, instead of these 17 different credits that you're going to have to use every month, here's a $25 food credit. That instantaneously makes that card a card that I think there's not a person that can complain about it. You can complain and say, oh, it's Amex or it's $325. You got a $300 dining credit. And then you got Dunkin', right? At that point, who was complaining about that? So I think that there is something to be said about simplicity, but also how complicated are you willing to get? And apparently, based on the community, people are willing to get very complicated and then complain about the complexity because this one small block in the Lego Mound Foundation doesn't fit my lifestyle, and I'm upset about it. So for me, what's the niche? Does it hit the niche? Am I breaking even? I'm good. I don't need super duper outsized value as long as I get my purpose served.
Hey, next time they do that Dior offer and you max yours out, call me. You can use mine. Just Venmo me. I will happily take them MR points.
Hey, I got you. No, seriously,
Straight up.
I got you, bro. Like,
Real
straight up,
business.
yeah.
I'm not using it. I'm not shopping there.
I got kids. I just want to smell nice with my kids. Be that nice dude at the daycare and be like, "Oh, Mr. Carter, what are you wearing?" Oh, you couldn't afford it. Don't worry about it.
Oh,
No. Nope. I'll just take the MR points.
I got hit on
Give
at
Lonnie the
daycare,
points.
and my wife was furious. It's hilarious, but yeah, I was like, "Really, me?" All right.
RJ, did you have any thoughts on Jason's question?
For me, it's how hard is it to recreate what the card gives me? So the Delta Reserve, for example, right? It's real hard to recreate a companion pass. Real hard to do that because it would be money, right? And hard as in it would be equal money to whatever ticket I'm buying, right? So I can't recreate that. I can't recreate $200 or $2,500 of MQDs like out of nothing, right? So for that card, even if I put no spend on it, and I actually do put some spend on it, like the ability to recreate that is very difficult for what I pay for it. So for me, that's the line is, or the Hilton, like I already have gold, so I'm not really recreating that. I'm getting some credits. $50 a quarter is $50 a quarter. So yeah, I look at it as the recreation of it. Does it fill a need in my life, and how hard would it be to recreate whatever benefit it is giving me? My IG card gives me platinum status. I can buy ambassador every year, or I can just hold the card and not need to spend that $250. Now, the $250 gives me a certificate, which is not impossible to use, but it also is a me going to a destination for a hotel, which I enjoy, but it requires some amount of pre-planning. So yeah, it's got to be able to do that. If it doesn't do that, then I probably don't need it. And I probably have a card that will do that for me anyway. I have a pretty solid rotation at this point that you got to be doing something special. Like the new Delta cards, the Amex refresh on the Platinum, that is the only time there's going to be potential wiggle room. If I can get gold for 2 cards with Delta now, like if it comes out with 5,000 MQD for those cards, then yeah, probably going to upgrade. Probably going to hurt a lot when I upgrade, but probably going to upgrade, right? Is what it is. It's going to hurt. I know it's going to hurt. I'm preparing now for that hurt. Like, I am mentally preparing for two $1,200 credit cards. But if I can get gold and not actually have to get on a plane, I probably will do it.
Spend your way to platinum.
Yep.
All right. There you go. And our last question of the night comes from Spathco, who asks, what's your current award booking that you're most looking forward to? Mine is partially done. It's just for my partner's friend's wedding in the Detroit area in October, and it's just getting on a plane to get away. I like that. I like that idea very much. So I just have to book the flight, and we just have to figure out what the flight's going to look like. So that'll be good. And then I got to book the car, which no, I can't do that with. Oh no, I can still do that for 1.5x MR points, not MR, UR points. I can do that until October. I should probably get on that. RJ, any award booking that you're looking forward to?
The only award booking I have currently set for the rest of the year is 2 Crown Plaza nights that I booked on points for both before and after my trip to Denver, because I didn't want to have to get up super early and drive to the airport, and I did not want to have to get in super late from the trip and have to then drive home. So I have booked a pair of nights at a Crown Plaza that is very close to my local airport that I can simply go there and relax. I will be at the Crown Plaza for less than 12 hours on my return, but those 12 hours, I am going to be so happy that I have a hotel room that I can just go and sleep before I go home and probably take a nap. So that's the only actual rewards booking. Everything else is cash. So it is my default answer, but it is also one I'm very happy about.
Nope, definitely makes sense. Lonnie, your next awards booking that you're looking forward to?
Man, that's a hard one because I'm literally about to book another one, and I'm really looking forward to that one. But the excuse me, the one that it's actually currently booked, I probably is not too far off, and it's for our 2025 cruise, family cruise. So the cruise itself, I'm showing up 2 days early. You've heard me talk about this on the show before. The Evermore in Orlando, Conrad Evermore, or the Evermore Resort. So I will be there for 2 days, even before the cruise. We got the big old house or whatever thing they got over there, which I'm really looking forward to. And then I'm going to go back there. Not there, but booked a really good suite after the cruise as well, in all points and miles and all that other fun stuff. So I'm really looking forward to that one.
Perfect. And finally, Craig.
Still in the process of booking this out, but we have our flights. We are going to Australia in January of 26. My wife is a huge tennis fan, so we are going to go see the Australian Open. I'm also hoping to go see the Irwin Zoo because I am the largest Steve Irwin in life, and that has always been a dream of mine to get to Australia, despite everything trying to kill us.
Actively.
So flights actively, yes. It's really odd. The second most venomous snake in the world is the most populous snake in all of Australia. The inland brown taipan. Love to see it. But yeah, no, flights are booked. We went through Alaska for those, and we are flying JLA out of LAX. We're still trying to book up hotels. We'll be there for 10 days because the first day is just going to be us being absolutely drained from jet lag. And then every day after that, trying to pack in as absolutely much stuff as we possibly can on top of seeing a few tennis matches. But yeah, that's the big one for us. I think that's probably going to be the only big trip we take in all of 26 because my wife is, and I can say this now because yay, she's starting a PhD program. And so, yeah, I do not anticipate seeing a lot of like international travel going for that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's probably going to be the next big thing outside of just some small domestic trips. So, yeah,
All right. There you go. Who runs the zoo? Is it Bindi or Robert who's running the zoo at this point?
I think Carrie does a lot of it too.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, that's fair. All right. Going around the horn, any final thoughts here? RJ, any final thoughts?
Actually travel. If you're in this game deep, actually travel. Like that is part of the assignment.
It's fair. Alani, any closing thoughts?
Be financially responsible. Be mature with not just your finances, but with your expectations. Also, the people that are working at the airport and the hotels are just there to do their job, not to make your day better or worse. They're there to do your job. And if you get a better day, yay for you. And if you don't get a better day, just realize it's not about you. It was wrong place, wrong time, something else of that nature. So yeah, just be responsible, be mature.
Absolutely. And Craig?
Try your absolute best not to get into choice fatigue. This game is meant to make your life easier, not harder. Do not stress out. Do not have a pet. Obviously, anxiety is a real concern and medical concern as well. But if you can avoid it, do not allow credit cards to be the item that is causing you to have a panic attack or have anxiety because it is meant to be a relaxant or relief or a stress relief. Don't let this game break you, right? Just take a breath, take a step back. It is okay not to participate in the Discord for a few minutes. Please come back. But it is also okay to not watch credit card YouTube for a few minutes because it stresses you out. Don't let credit cards stress you out. It is just a credit card. It is a tool for a means to an end.
Speaking of fatigue, I think Chase and Amex are solving that for us at the moment.
Yeah.
They're amping that up. City, Wells, literally anyone else. Can you come out with a travel card that is nice, clean, simple? Don't have to think about credits. Don't have to do the coupon book. Anybody? Bueller?
Oh, you sweet, sweet summer child.
Cameron?
Best I can do is tree fitting.
Oh, God, this is the part where Cameron freaks out.
On a
Anyway.
sincere note, I think I speak for all of us when I say thank you to everyone. We hit 500 before the recording tonight, hitting 1 year of doing this podcast, and thank you because we wouldn't be doing this without the listeners. We would, but it would be on like a Discord at not 1:45 in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for helping us at 500. Oops, sorry.
I was gonna follow you up because you jumped in first, but I was gonna say definitely. There's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that go into making this. A lot of late nights and early mornings at the exact same time that go into this. For the 500 of you that have hit that subscribe button, you get an extra special spot in our hearts. And for the next 500 that hit that button, you still get a special spot. It might not be as big, but it's still special. It's still a spot, and it fits into our hearts.
It's a junior suite.
Because of the next
has a trundle bed.
Ooh, trundle bed. Because at the next 500, we get to turn the ad machine go burr. Yeah, absolutely. Everyone who's subscribed, thank you. If you like what we do, best thing, tell all your friends. Just spread a little bit of word of mouth. If you have friends who are interested in the credit card game, who are willing to learn a little bit about the credit card game, definitely feel free to recommend us. If you like what we do, it's just pure entertainment. Like when we break cognitively over the fact that the Albany airport has nothing around it, share those moments. Share the channel, and if you like what we do, check out stackyourpoints.com. Everything that we post goes up to stackyourpoints.com. You can contact us through there. You can join our Discord through stackyourpoints.com. We will be putting together memberships relatively shortly. I'm sure we'll have a follow-up on the live. The live is going to be on Thursday, is always on Thursdays, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Anyone who can check it out. RJ and I tend to go on for a while. Yeah, so we look forward to that. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for helping us hit 500. We'll see you guys next week, same time, same place.